The Calcasieu Parish Public Library presents Branch Out at Your Library. This is a partnership program with the City of Lake Charles to support their Retree LC initiative.
Hi, I'm Katie Pennington with the Calcasieu Libraries.
And I'm Tracy Ashby with Central Library in Lake Charles.
Today, we're going to show you how to plant a tree.
Are you ready? Let's go!
When you get ready to plant your tree, make sure you have the right tools for the job. Shovels that have been sharpened are your best tool. You may want some gloves to protect your hands and some fertilizer. It also comes in handy to have scissors and a tape measure nearby. Depending on how big your tree is, you may want to stake it and tie it off with some twine. Also, be sure you're dressed properly for the job, so we changed from our work clothes into our gardening clothes, which included shoes to protect our feet and sunglasses because it was a sunny day. We are putting on our gloves and gearing up to plant this tree. Look at the size of this tree. We'll get back to that. One of the first things to consider is where you will plant your tree. Make sure you have the proper permissions. If you plan to plant in your yard, check city ordinances to make sure you're not planting too close to power lines. We had a nice open space in Tracy's front yard, so we made the decision and marked the spot. Next, we measured our nursery pot to make sure we were going to dig a big enough hole for our tree. Different trees and sizes will need to be planted at a different depth and circumference. You can find that information online. Check with your local nursery or arborist, or check out books from the Calcasieu Parish Public Library to help guide you. Before you ever begin digging, be sure to call 811 a few days before you plan to plant your tree. You want to make sure that you don't damage any underground facilities or pipes. Safety first. Depending on the size of tree you plant, you may need some help. This tree doesn't look that big on video, but it took the three of us to lift it into place. So when you make the decision, decide if you need help and take that into account. All right, we have finished marking our circumference, so we're going to move our markers, and now the groundbreaking. When we started digging, we realized we were moving perfectly good sod, so we made a plan to place the sod with the grass to the side so that it could be reused in a different place in the yard later. We placed the dirt to one side or in the cooler so we could access it easily when filling in our hole, but it would be out of our way as we continued to dig. At a certain point, we realized we had made some progress. The tape measure comes in handy so you can measure accurately your circumference and depth. Tyler was on hand to take the measurements for us. And we reached our goal. A job well done. Next, you will need scissors or a tool to remove the nursery pot from your tree. Always exercise caution and point sharp objects away from yourself. If you have a much smaller tree, you may be able to shimmy the tree out of the nursery pot without a tool. This one took the three of us helping to finally remove it. Hooray, it's free! Next, we needed to decide which way the tree would be planted in the hole. For example, if your tree already has limbs, you may want to decide which way is the most aesthetically pleasing. It took the three of us to move this tree. If you're planting a tree this size, be sure to practice safety and use your legs and not your back when lifting. Now Tracy's putting some fertilizer into the hole. This is going to help the tree grow big and strong, and as it puts down roots, it will grow through the fertilizer. And one last big lift, all together now. Yay, we did it! The new tree is finally in its new home, but there's still more work to do. Now we have to carefully fill back in our hole with our dirt around the tree, which brings up an excellent point, time. A tree this size took three of us an hour and a half from start to finish. Be sure to plan your time when you plant your tree. A much smaller tree can be done in a much smaller amount of time. As we added layers of dirt, we took turns gently stepping around our hole to make sure there was no air bubbles beneath the surface. It was a very windy day, and we wanted to make sure the tree was properly supported as well. About the halfway mark of filling in the hole, Tyler added some water for us to make sure the new fertilizer and tree's needs were met in case it didn't rain over the next couple of days. 1 bucketful should do it because we're going to add some more water at the end. Let's talk about a few more important factors. When you decide to plant a tree, you should know why. Are you trying to bring a certain type of wildlife, like birds, to your yard? Or are you thinking about the next generation's enjoyment? You also should think about how large your tree will get and how close to structures you're planting it. It only makes sense in Louisiana these days to think about these things. Something else to take into account is what your tree likes. Is it slow growing? Does it like full sun or partial shade? And what type of watering needs does it have? We're just about done with filling in our hole. This tree came already staked and supported, so that saved us some time. But if your tree doesn't have support, with the winds we've been having, you may want to think about getting a stake and some twine to make sure your tree is protected in the winds. And the fringe tree is officially planted. Next, Tyler added 1 more bucket of water to the top soil just to make sure the tree had some moisture. It was already a sunny day, so we felt like the tree was off to a wonderful start. There was not much else to do, and we were happy. We tidied up the yard a bit. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. And don't forget to stretch. Yard work is hard work. Thank you to the City of Lake Charles for letting the Calcasieu Libraries be a part of their Retree LC initiative. And be sure to check out their remaining events, including a free tree giveaway tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Interested in learning more about growing your own tree or anything spring related? Check out our display currently at Central Library up through April. Thanks for watching.
Branch out and stay connected at your Calcasieu Parish Public Library. Bye-bye.